How's it going, guys? Welcome to another video. It's Future Josh here. If you guys watched the end of the last video, I had to chop this video in half due to a lot of footage over just a couple days. So at the very end of the last video, if you guys did watch it, if you guys didn't watch it, go back and give it a watch if you guys want. But at the very end of the last video, I drove the sprayer into the shop so that we could change the oil on it so it's ready for another cycle, ready to run this spring. So we pulled it into the shop, ready for an oil change, and we're gonna jump right in, right there, right where we left off, changing the oil in that sprayer, and we're just gonna keep on trucking with a lot of our little projects that we've been doing to get ready for our spring field work, a busy season. So if you guys do enjoy this video at any point, make sure you guys give it a like, and hope you guys do enjoy it. And we're gonna jump right back in with working on the sprayer. Getting ready to change the oil. I got buckets. I got my new oil filter, which will go right there at the wrench. We're gonna get her going. Got the oil. It's pretty much just dripping out now. Looking good. We're just gonna let it drip for a little bit. Then we'll change our filter and then we'll put all new oil in it. Howdy folks, it's now Tuesday, March 19th. It's about 10:30 in the morning. I'm out here in one of our fields that was previously beans that I think we're gonna put corn on this year. And we got Big Iron out here over the hillside here, ripping. Dad's got the loader tractor doing some work. And I am out here with the old trusty Ranger. I've been driving around the field for about an hour now, and I've been loading rocks. I just loaded this massive one. At first I thought I'd have to wait and have Dad come out with the tractor and load it, but I got her in. This is probably my 5th or 6th load. So pretty much I've just been driving around the field, driving around the end rows, and then every so often I'll go back to Big Iron and I'll drive around where Big Iron has been ripping, and I'll see if any more rocks have been turned up by where they have turned it up. Dad was ripping for a little bit, and now Scott's doing it. For those of you who don't know, Big Iron is our John Deere 8850. But I wanted to come on here also to tell you that, but also because look at this. I got to drive down there, but there's a rock over here. There's a couple rocks in here that are shining from a mile away. I can see them from here. And ultimately, it's good to pick these up because if you hit this with a planter or a combine or anything like that, the equipment's expensive. And so it's a good thing to just, I'm gonna throw it in park here. Holy macaroni. We got quite a few here. There's a big one here that'll have to load. There's a few small ones I'll grab. There's a bigger one right up here I'll go ahead and grab before I lose sight of it. But ultimately, yeah, it's kind of time consuming doing this, but oh wow, look at that. There's another few buried here. Look at that. Wow. Rocks everywhere. Even this one buried in here a little bit. Ooh, I don't know if I can get that one out. I kind of should, but they're everywhere over here. Wow. I think you guys are my luck. I think you guys helped me hit the jackpot here. But this equipment's expensive. And even a rock like this that I can hold in the palm of my hand, it can mess up a trash wheel on a planter. It can mess up a whole lot of things. So yeah, it's time consuming. And no, this morning's not the warmest of mornings. It actually feels like winter for once. But ultimately, this is cheap insurance right here. Getting these rocks up is just saving our own tails in the busy season. Because especially this guy, if we're just bebopping along and we're not paying attention and we hit this guy, oh, we're wrecking something. We're wrecking something, all right. I gotta use 2 hands to load this guy. But yeah, it's just cheap insurance. Just going out here and loading them up. Here's another one. I don't know if I'll be able to dig it up or not. Oh yeah, it's coming. Yeah, it's coming. There we go. This stuff is just asking to break equipment. And so we're just out here picking them up. And just to ensure that we don't break anything, or we don't have to go around it, or memorize where rocks are so we can go pick them up later. I'm just driving along, and if I can see the top of a rock, I'll be like, oh, there's one, there's a big one. And then every so often I'll go up and down the rows and drive slow. So if there are smaller ones that I can't see from a distance, I can get them too. But I'm gonna load these big guys up, do one final search of this area, and then I'm gonna keep on trucking. Well, I was just over that hill on that end row over there to the west, and I was gonna drive these guys up and find the loader tractor and have them take them where all the other rocks are going. But on my drive, I seen all these rocks piled up in the timber here. Ah, look at that! There's a goose out in the field. Hi, goose. But I seen some rocks here too, just here in the thistle. So I'm just gonna unload them here because I don't want to haul. These are some heavy rocks, and I don't want to wreck the suspension on this thing going over the hills of the field. So I'm just gonna kind of toss them into the creek, into the wash here. We've done this before, just so I lighten the load, so I'm not trying to barrel over hills with these big rocks in here, and I risk messing up the suspension. Because even if we get the rocks out of the field, they can still damage equipment until they are completely out of the way, and you aren't going to hit them with anything. Because I could break the Ranger if I hit a bump just right. So I'm going to unload all these guys, and then I'll keep on going with my search. This is the one I'm worried about. The big guy. Oh, there's another little one. Get him out of here. I think I can get him up. I got him up once. Should be able to do it again. There we go. They're out of the way. They're in the thistles. They're off the end rows. They're not going to get hit by any farm equipment now. And that lightens up my load so I can go. So if I find any more big ones, I can keep going. Put her back in gear. And we're gonna keep going with our search. But while I'm searching, I wanted to update you on the sprayer project. The clip earlier of us doing an oil change on the sprayer. We got the oil changed, and we changed our sight tube for our gauge, so we can see how full we are. We also did some other bolting up some things that had come loose, putting some new bolts in them, just general maintenance stuff. And either today, because I said it feels like winter, but it's not going to last long because it's going to get up to about 60 this afternoon. So we might this afternoon pull the sprayer out, run water through it, fire it up, and make sure all of our nozzles are working and stuff like this. Make sure they're not plugged up. But, oh, is this another rock? It looks like it's just sticking up just enough. Nope, looks like it's just a hunk of dirt that got ripped up by a tractor or something. So that's what I'm looking for. I go along real slow so I can find the small ones, but I look out in the distance too and see if I can find any big ones. Even across the creek I'm looking, because I can jump across and keep going. But the sprayer, we just did some general maintenance on, and then sometime here in the next couple days, we'll be making sure that it all works. But, looks like I might have found another one here. Something else sticking up just right out of the soil to peek, grab my attention. Nope, it's another dirt clump. Okay, there's some beans, run them over. I'm not in a grain cart, but I'm still running over skips. All right, I think this 25-acre patch is about done. I'm gonna go back over across the waterway and keep looking. I decided to come back over here to this end row and look, because that was where all those rocks were. I just thought I'd check the whole end row along this side of the 25-acre patch. And there's Big Iron, the 8850 with the disc gripper on it. So I might drive back over there and see if he's turned up anything else over there. I don't know. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Especially with that disc gripper, it can dig down pretty deep with the rippers. So it can pull up some rocks that we couldn't see before. So I'm gonna get out of this little 25-acre patch as long as I don't see any other rocks sticking out, anything that grabs my attention. Because I mean, smaller rocks aren't a big deal. It's the huge ones that we need to get out. I mean, if I see a little rock, I'll pick it up, but if I'm driving like this and I pass a couple of little ones, I'm not too worried. I'll look around in here because Scott did some ripping up in here too. So on my way out, I will just take a quick glance and see if any rocks got turned up. Looks like they're all dirt clumps. So far anyway. Whoa, what is that a shiner? Okay, that's just shiny clay there. Perfect, looking good, looking good. Oh nope, that was a dirt clump. I get teased by that a little bit. Because where it's been disc gripped, it looks like there's a whole bunch of rocks sticking up. I kind of got a throttle gas on it through here. I don't want to have to kick it in 4-wheel drive if I don't have to. It's pretty dry today, so. Well, I'm gonna go back to what I was doing. I was over here in the main section going to the north. And I see a big rock shining on the hill over across the waterway. So I jumped over there and just knocked out that 25-acre patch. So it's done. Now I'm in the big section again. I'm gonna keep looking for rocks. All right, guys, it's about 1:15. We got back to the shop about right around noon. I got back to the shop from hauling rocks with the Ranger, and we had a lunch break, and now they are in the shop. They put Carol and the spray trailer in the shop, and they're loading a couple totes of chemicals on it, and we have the sprayer out here, the 4830, and we are filling the tank with water. Seems like it's about half full at this point. Hello! Don't be dropping this in there. We're just putting straight water in there for now. We're about half full. Jump in there and go for a swim, guys. But what we're gonna do with this is we are gonna take it out here in the gravel or out in the grass. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna unfold the boom. We're gonna fire it up like we're spraying a field. And we're just gonna let that water run through it. And we're gonna check all the nozzles. Make sure the nozzles are all working properly. Just to make sure we don't have any rows that are missed when we're spraying. I'll look on our sight gauge now. We are at about 450 gallons. This is our brand new sight tube that we put on. So we can actually see the lines now. We're at about 450 gallons in the tank. So they are in the shop with the forklift loading a few totes of chemicals onto the spray trailer, some weed killers and stuff like that, so we can have them for ingredients for making our fertilizer. And we're gonna get that done and pull that out, and then, like I said, when this is ready to go and we have enough water in it, we'll take it out and we'll spray it, and we'll test all the nozzles, make sure everything's working properly, make sure there's no leaks in any hoses. You know, just maintenance stuff, because a mouse could have chewed on a hose. You know, you never know. A lot can happen over the winter season. So we're gonna get that ready to rock and roll. I easily had about 7-8 loads of rocks in the Ranger today. I easily had 7-8 loads, bunch of monster rocks that we just needed to get out of there, which, like I said before, it's It's time consuming, but it's one of those things that just is cheap insurance. It just saves you in the long run from having any problems with hitting them with the expensive equipment. So I'm gonna go back into the shop and update them on where the sprayer's sitting here, and we're gonna go from there, guys. All right, guys, it's now 3:30. I'm in the shop now with our old trusty Carol, the 1979 International Transtar cab over that hauls our spray trailer, our 2 big water tanks, and then these 2 pallets here, these 2 big totes are what we put onto the trailer today with the forklift. So these will be the chemicals that we use when it comes to the totes for this first batch. And then we just got done loading all of our chemicals that we can fit into our side box, all of our jugs, for this first batch, for this first spray. Because when it comes to the spraying, we do 3 rounds of spraying. When it comes to beans take 2 rounds and corn takes 1. And when it comes to the beans, we do what's called a bean pre, which we spray on the ground before the beans even go into it. It's a pre-planting spray, and pretty much it kills off any volunteer corn or anything that is still left of the corn so that it can turn into bean ground and be ready, so the ground is officially ready chemical wise, stuff like that, so that it's ready for the seed to drop into the ground. And then we do a follow-up with the beans where we have to row crop it and go with the rows, and we do that afterwards. When the beans are in the ground already, we do a whole nother round with a whole bunch of different chemicals that helps with pesticide and all that stuff. And then corn just gets 1 round, which is called a pre-emergence, which means it's already planted in the ground, but we have to plant it before they sprout, before they pop up out of the ground. And so this trailer and all the chemicals for the first round are ready to go. And we're currently putting the monitor in the sprayer so that we can look at everything, and we're gonna start spraying the water through and check nozzles and stuff like that. But it's looking like we're gonna start spraying here probably within the next, I'd say not next week, but the week after, as long as the weather's nice. Next week, we're going to have some kind of bad weather. I shouldn't say bad, but it's going to be cold. Highs only in the 40s. Chances of rain and snow. I doubt the snow will even stick, just because of how warm the ground is. We've had a very warm winter. I can't complain about it at all. We had that one polar storm in January where it was like -30 before the wind chill, and we had, I'd say, over a foot of snow. We had over a foot of snow come down over the span of the whole storm. So we had one good winter storm there, but after that, it turned to spring real quick. But winter is still here, so we're still preparing for spring. The planter is almost completely ready. We just have a few little things left to do to it, and it'll be ready to go. I don't know when we're getting seed in. We should be getting seed here pretty soon. We have all the chemicals we need, so it's just a matter of getting the seed. The trailer, like I showed you, is ready to rock and roll. We're getting the sprayer ready to go, so it's just a matter of getting everything ready for spring. So I'm gonna go ahead and head out and keep an eye on these nozzles when we get it running, and I'll take you guys along. All right, so we got the sprayer going and we got the boom out, and we have started the spraying. And like I said, we're doing this so we can see if there are any problems with any nozzles, and we've already had to unscrew some and knock some stuff out of them to get them going. You can see this one is still just dripping when it should be misting, and you can see on all the nozzles there's this plug looking deal, and you can see that on this one it is squirting water out of there. So that's bad. That's gonna have to be replaced. Like I said, this nozzle's still not working right. We gotta replace that one deal there. We have a few nozzles that aren't working right, but that's not out of the ordinary. So we're just gonna let it run, and one, to kind of help flush the system a little bit, but two, so we can see what else is going on. We have a few nozzles that aren't doing the best. Like this one here is just kind of trickling. So we're just going through and we are checking them all over, seeing if there's anything we can do to fix them. Some of them we've been able to just screw the deal off and get it going, and it's good to go. Like this one on the end here wasn't working the best, but just unscrewing that red nozzle, knocking it like this on the rail and putting it back on, started working. So sometimes you can do that, sometimes you can't. So we're gonna go through and check this sprayer over and we'll see what we gotta do. Well, that part I showed you that was trickling out the green plug, we just got it replaced, and the new nozzle's working and it's not leaking. So that one's fixed. We're gonna go down the line and keep working. All right, it's been a little bit now. We've replaced 1, 2, 3 of the nozzle systems, and I'll explain kind of what how they go on. It's really easy to replace them actually, because all it is on the tube is everywhere where there's a nozzle, there's just a big hole in the tube where the water comes out. And so all you have to do for these nozzles is there's this screw here, and you undo the screw so then it looks like this, and you can, well, I guess the screws are back on it, but you take the screw off and you can open the clamp and it drops right off the pipe. It drops right off the pipe, and then we just take the tip off and put it on the new one. So it's not a new tip, it's just the same tip as long as it still works good. We reuse the tip, and then as long as it's not leaking out of here like it was, then it's good to go. And then sometimes you got to use channel locks and tighten, grab here and tighten just a little bit, just to make sure it's snug. Make sure there's no leaks of water coming out of it. But it's really easy to change them out. Just one screw pops them off. As long as you line it back up with where it was, it has a nice O-ring on the top, so it seats right on that hole. So there's no leaks coming out of the tube, out of the seam, out of the clamp here, and it just clamps right on. So we've replaced 3, and that's all we had in our handy dandy box on the sprayer. So we're looking in the shop to see if we have any more. If not, we're gonna have to order them. But this is the last one on the left wing entirely. Then the middle is good, the middle section is good, and then it's just a few on the right wing. A few of them on the right wing just have bad tips. So if we have some extra tips, we should be able to just swap them out and they'll be fixed. It's just a matter of waiting on getting some more of these so that we can keep on trucking. So it's Friday, April 5th, and look what just came in. This is the second truckload. The first load was all our corn, and now we're just getting the last 2 totes of seeds for soybeans. Our seeds are here. All right, guys, it's now the next day, April 6th. It is Saturday morning. I'm out here at the shop doing a little bit of cleanup and just stuff to get me out of the house for the day. Waiting for Dad to show up. We got some work to do on his pickup today. But I showed you guys, obviously, in the last clip yesterday about all of our seeds coming in. This is all of our totes for corn and beans for this year. I did find out that for this year, for our land, I don't know if we're doing any custom work this year or not. We didn't last year. We have before, so I don't know if we're doing any custom work. But at least for the ground that we farm, we have about 1,700 acres to plant this year. So this amount of seed here will cover at least the 1,700 acres that we have to plant for us. I don't know if we're doing custom work this year or if we have to get more seed for that. If we are, I don't know. But this is all of our seed here, corn and beans. If you look at the labels down here, this one is soybeans, and I think the corn is like way back in here somewheres. That one's beans as well. Come all the way back here to the back. That one's beans, that one's beans. Aha! And this one is field corn. What we grow for corn, and they have the treatments and everything in them that kind of match up with our mixtures that we are going to be spraying here so that the seeds can obviously prosper. But we should be getting this out probably next week if the weather's looking nice for now. But I made a video at some point last year, and I figured I'd go ahead and touch on it again. 1, if you didn't see the video from last year, or 2, just to re-educate you, these seeds, obviously these are huge totes. I think they're like almost 5,000 pounds a piece, I do believe. Oh, I'm sorry, no. 2258 for that one. 2,200 and... Okay, so you could say about 2,000 to 2,500 pounds per tote here, it looks like. At least that's the weight of the seed, I think. But I made a video last year talking about the seeds. And like I said, we plant two types of crops, like I just showed you. We plant field corn and we plant soybeans. Field corn obviously is different from the corn that we ourselves eat. That's more like a sweet corn kind of deal. Field corn is more what you feed livestock. And that's a lot of, pretty much every single crop that gets grown in this state, in the state of Iowa, pretty much goes, a lot of it goes to cattle feed or any just general livestock feed products, byproducts, all that stuff. But like I said, I made a video last year at some point talking about this. So obviously the seeds are in these totes, right? The soybeans and then the corn is to the back like I just showed you. But obviously you have no idea, you know, obviously they're just in big black totes. When we're ready to use them, we take the forklift, we grab them, we lift them up, we open the bottoms. There's locking mechanisms in here, and there's a slide down there. We open it up and we let gravity just dump it into our seed tender. And then we use the auger on the seed tender, we extend it out, we fire up the motor, we dump the seeds and fill the boxes on the planter, and then we go plant. But the seeds, I have some seeds in my hand here that are actually from last year that we had in a bucket from cleaning out the boxes and the meters and all that. And so I figured I'd show you guys what the seeds actually look like when they're going to be running through the planter and going into the ground. So in my right hand here, I have the soybean seeds. And you can see they look literally like if I went to the bin right now and grabbed soybeans out of the grain bin from harvest last year, they look a lot like this, except they're not green. If I point them just right, you can kind of see a split where the cat eye, what I call the cat eye used to be. There it is right there. There's one with the cat eye. I wish it would clear up. But obviously the green is the treatment and the stuff in the seed that'll help it prosper in the soil and all the chemical and all that stuff that helps it thrive. And obviously these sprout and grow into these soybean plants that have pods upon pods of soybeans, and the pods normally have about two to three beans. I've seen some with 4, but usually the average is 3 beans per pod on the plants. And then obviously it gets combined and gets put into our bins and turns into the regular soybeans ready for selling. So those are the beans. So the soybeans literally just look like soybeans that are green, and the corn is kind of the same. In my other hand here, I have the seed corn. This is what they call seed corn that goes into the ground and becomes field corn. And it literally looks just like corn kernels, but they are red. And the red, just like the soybeans with the green, is the chemicals and the pesticides and the treatments that are in the seed so that they can prosper and grow into big, tall, luscious corn stalks that have nice big ears of corn on them, that we can get bushels upon bushels of kernels of corn for selling and feeding for livestock. So the seeds actually aren't what you'd think. They're literally just corn and soybeans going in the ground to make more corn and soybeans pretty much. But I think it's just kind of cool that they're red and green going into the ground, and then you get the golden yellow corn and the tannish brownish soybeans at the end of the year. But this is our big bucket from last year's cleanup that we'll probably dump in. I don't know, we might use those, I don't know. That's a lot of sorting we'll have to do. But that is what's filling all of these boxes, the red and the green, and then the bags there are the same thing. It's just, that's just leftover stuff for smaller fields and stuff like that. We have a few pallets of just bags. But that is what is filling these giant black totes, is the corn and soybean seeds. I know I've shown it before, but I figured I'd show it again just to re-educate you, show you guys again, or if you haven't seen the last video that I did it in, you know, just to educate you for the first time in general. But I figured I'd show you guys that and explain that a little bit. But I'm just gonna wait and do a little bit more cleanup here at the shop. I think it'll be a big week. I don't know exactly what next week's gonna look like. As long as the weather stays the way it's looking, we're gonna be having the sprayer go out into the field next week and start our bean pre-spraying. So we are just gonna keep on trucking, and we have some things to do this weekend to prepare for next week, where we might be getting the field cultivator out and starting to do dirt work and get the sprayer out and do the spraying. So who knows, we might be going along. We'll have to see.